Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of Viltrumics Invincible Podcast here on the Aspect Network. I'm one of your hosts, Negan Fu, and joining me to discuss the latest and greatest in the world of Invincible is BreAnna Romero. Bree, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. I just had a little lunch. It was a vegan tamale uh, with like vegan green chili and beans.
Oh,
I went to a vegan grocery store yesterday because they were doing like vegan
oh,
milkshake.
cool.
Um,
Oh, was that
and
good?
it was pretty good. It
Yeah.
tastes like milkshake.
Okay. It
Yeah.
wasn't like amazing though.
No, it was just like a
Yeah.
regular old milkshake. But
Like
the
it's
tamale
because,
was pretty good. It was only like $2, so I was like, I'll buy it and try it.
yeah, cool. That's
I
pretty
guess
fun.
I guess you just call it a shake because there's no milk in it.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I don't know actually what they use. Maybe they use like oat milk. Is oat milk vegan? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Because it's milked from oats.
Yeah, duh.
However they do that. Same with almond milk. I don't fully understand that, but
They,
coconut milk makes sense. Uh, Almond
yeah.
milk is like a little like
But but when you crack a coconut open, it's coconut water, isn't it? It's not milk.
yeah, but I'm saying like I don't know what they add to like make it milk, but I at least I know where the liquid's coming from,
Okay.
presumably. But like oat milk and almond milk and whatever other types of milk there are.
There's like
Uh,
rice milk.
oh, there is rice milk. That's perplexing. Anyway,
How
that's
are you
cool
doing?
though. I'm doing pretty good. Not that much has happened since we last talked. Um, yeah, doing fine, I suppose. Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
Well, I'm excited to talk about this episode because today we're recapping and reviewing the next episode of Invincible Season 1 with episode 4 titled Neil Armstrong, Eat Your Heart Out, which is such a fun episode title. I love like actually paying attention to what the episodes are titled.
yeah, I know.
Um,
Um,
yeah. Well, let's kick off this week's show just by jumping in and talking about our overall thoughts on this episode. Megan, what did you think of this episode?
um, this episode is pretty solid. I mean, I feel like there's a lot that goes on.
Mhm.
And the big thing is the Mars mission at the end, which obviously resurfaces in the next season. So we've kind of talked about that threat a lot. So it's
Mhm.
it's fun going back to the start of that plot line and just seeing how that originated. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot. I think it's mostly a slower episode. Um, Again, a lot just devoted to just Mark's character, which is good, obviously.
Mhm.
Just small stuff, nothing crazy in this one, I don't think. Maybe the dark blood stuff is a little crazy, but I guess we'll talk about that. What were your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I think a really solid kind of development episode, just like learning more about Mark, taking the necessary steps in like figuring out who killed the Guardians of the Globe. We see more of Mark and Amber. We see the new Guardians of the Globe kind of figure out their new dynamic. So I think it covers a lot of important plot points.
Mhm.
But like you said, the really big one is that Mars mission, which is so interesting because when it's first presented to us, we don't think like it's gonna be something that carries on, but it does. I think they do a really good job of always bringing us back to things
Yeah.
that have happened in the past, which brings me to talk about the opening scene where we see an archaeologist.
Yeah, we really the last time we spoke about this, we were really just talking out of our ass,
We
and
really
we
were.
were we were like, what the hell is this thing that I've never seen before? Um,
I felt
because this
seeing it. I was like, oh,
I was like, no way. And then
what?
it was the same dude. And I was like, damn, like our audience, whoever was listening, is probably like, those guys don't know to not watch the show.
Yeah. I
Um,
think he like even comes out with like the same like spider hand thing.
mm,
It's just really funny that we totally forgot about that.
but
But
even
like I
still,
said,
like,
they bring it back really well.
yeah, but even still, like, we still don't really know what that plot line is.
No, but it's nice that they're like kind of reminding us that it exists.
Yeah, I suppose like its inclusion season two. I mean, now it doesn't like perplex me in the same way anymore because I for real thought it was just out of nowhere.
Hmm.
Uh, and in my defense, it's been like 3 years since
Yes.
the only time I probably sat through this specific scene. So I don't know. Was it just like a laugh when that scene came up because you had forgotten about it?
Yeah, I definitely like was like, oh, especially when I like because I feel like I kind of really vaguely remember it, maybe. But
Mhm.
especially when we see like the same spider like tattoo thing on his hand, then I was like,
Mhm.
these are connected. Like they're the same. It's yeah. And we don't really get anything out of it though.
No, it's a very odd way to like start the episode and then just never address it again.
When
Uh,
when do you think we're gonna see it next?
like honestly, I really that's a plot line like I know nothing about if that's a real thing in the comics or like how big of a thing it is or not. Um, like maybe they just subtly build it up like one scene per season and it's like a bit until like it's a real thing. But I don't know. I've never seen like the show sets up so many like plot threads all the time and there's so many characters, but like that's maybe the only one that I can think of that I don't know how it fits in at all yet.
Yeah, well, I
Um,
think at one point the guy who goes to resurrect Kahor says, "Soon you'll teach this world what it means to truly suffer." So you like we know
mm,
that something bad is eventually going to happen. Like Kahor is not a good guy,
right, right.
but yeah, but then the
I
door literally closes on him. So
so I guess it's just Cahor continuously failing to like break out and take over the world or whatever. Like
it's just that.
so weird. Um, who wins, Cahor or Omni-Man?
We haven't even seen Kahor's abilities. I feel like if he had a chance at beating Omni-Man, he would have broken out of like this tomb that shut on him. Or like not the tomb, but like the tunnel that shut on him.
Right. Do you think he'll possess Mark or some strong hero?
Oh. Whoa, I didn't even think about that. The idea that he would maybe possess Mark is crazy, and now I really want it to happen.
Yeah, I actually don't know. That could be cool. Uh, but still, what a odd slow burn of a story.
I think it'll be interesting. I just don't know when it'll happen.
Feels like kind of Scooby-Doo for like Invincible. Like it just feels a bit more like, oh, like what's this silly dude doing?
Yeah, and then in season two, he has like a really weird like line about women. I don't remember.
He's just kind of like bummed out.
Yeah, yeah, that they were women.
Uh, yeah, because he can't possess them.
Yeah.
which good for them, I guess.
Mhm. Do you have
Um,
any other like big things that stood out to you in this episode?
Honestly, I really just really enjoy a lot of the Nolan and Debbie stuff. I think it's like better on the second time around, actually, like their conversations, and of course, because we know everything that will happen and the
Yeah.
context leading up to the start of the show, like just adds a lot of, I just think, nuance to their conversation, specifically how Nolan again is like how he chooses his words and what he says to her. So that stuff is honestly some of the best stuff in this episode, and just on the rewatch in general, like in terms of getting more out of the same thing.
Hmm.
That those like small conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
All
about
right.
you? Any?
No, I'm excited to talk about like the specific parts of this episode. I think,
Mm,
like you said, there's some things that Omni-Man says that really stand out to me. And then
mm.
there's some things that Robot does that really stand out to me. So
All right. Well, when we come back, we'll be talking even more about some of our favorite moments and elements from episode 4. We'll be right back.
Hey, Aspect listener, my name is Alex.
And I'm Kate, enjoying this show on the Aspect Network.
Then check out Bending the Narrative.
We are your one-stop shop for everything in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Each week, we go back and discuss your favorite episodes of the series with a particular focus on the characters and narrative threads that tie the series together.
In addition to discussing the original series, we also dive into other stories in the world of Avatar, like Legend of Korra, the live-action Netflix series, the books, the comics, and more.
Join us as we travel the globe with Team Avatar and discuss one of the greatest animated series of all time on Bending the Narrative here on the Aspect Network.
Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Viltrumics. Before the break, we discussed some of our overall thoughts on this episode, but now we want to dive into specific parts of this mid-season episode that we really enjoyed. So, Bree, we'll start with you. What were some of your favorite moments from Neil Armstrong, Eat Your Heart Out?
before we dive in to our favorite moments,
Mhm.
isn't it crazy that this is the mid-season episode of season 1 when you compare the mid-season of season 2? They're just so totally different.
Yeah, I mean, it really is like just goes to show like how like the like release like what's the word? Like release timeline will affect how like the
Mm,
narrative within the season is like structured.
mhm.
Because this episode is mostly I mean the Mars stuff I guess is pretty crazy, but like mostly this episode isn't like a huge like turning point for any of the characters or the central conflict. Whereas
Yeah.
the mid-season episode for season 2 is obviously like really, really eventful and like significant for like what happens next. So yeah, pretty interesting to compare.
Yeah, because at this point, like we've spent 4 episodes without anyone knowing that Omni-Man committed the murders.
Right.
And like it's so interesting because I feel like a lot of people prefer season 1 to season 2, but like if you look back on it, like season 1 moves a lot slower. Okay, I'll go, Negan, don't worry.
I I last episode we did, I start like if I could feel it, I was like, no, like be respectful. Bree's
But
talking.
anyways, I yeah, I feel like people prefer season 1 to season 2, but this season does move like a lot slower.
Yeah. Um it is a lot slower, but I think like that's what I was somewhat worried about on the rewatch is that I would just be a little bored because I've seen all this like origin stuff.
Mhm.
In sometimes admittedly I am like I don't I mean I like all the early Eve stuff for sure. I think that's fun. And I know it's just doing this bit every episode, but I truly don't find a lot of the Amber stuff, even his friend William, like that compelling.
Mhm.
And I feel like um in season two, like a lot of that stuff is like I don't know, there's so much going on in season two that we don't spend as maybe much time in those small moments. So I think the general pacing of the show maybe is slightly changed, and there are times rewatching it where I'm like, oh, like this part isn't that compelling to me, or I don't think I'm going to get anything new out of this.
Mhm.
But I think in general, all the Nolan stuff, especially in this episode, like I've kind of talked about, is kind of just as, if not more interesting on the rewatch
Yeah.
because it just the writers had planted all of this so early, but we don't like see everything happen till we've now covered two seasons. So there's just a lot added like context and to conversations,
Mhm.
specifically with Nolan and Mark and Debbie. So that stuff I think uh, is better on the rewatch. But I don't remember now why I started talking about this. I don't. Did you have a question for me?
No, I was just comparing this mid-season episode to season two's mid-season episode.
Right.
So no question. Just a conversation. But I
Just
can't
the
wait to see
podcast.
what season three's mid-season episode is.
I wonder. I hope it's like. Kind of hope they don't do like the two parts again.
I feel like they won't. I have my fingers crossed.
But I think season three is already fairly underway, right?
Yeah, according to all the posts. Who knows?
So hopefully we won't have to wait that long.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be nice.
and hopefully it's maybe released in one chunk
Oh,
instead of.
you don't like the weekly releases?
Oh no, sorry. I mean
Oh, I
like
see what you're saying.
I
I
do
see.
like the weekly releases because I think it just gives us a chance to record this podcast, but also like just talk about it and speculate. And there's kind of like just a very classic why television is kind of fun because it's week to week and not you just sit down in the theater for a couple hours. Um, but I kind of hope it's just like they drop episode one and two and then they just release week by week and don't do a hiatus in between just because they're short seasons.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, what did you like about this episode? What should we get into first?
We talked about him a little bit last episode, but let's talk about our guy, Damien Darkblood.
Okay, you start.
Okay. He is, we said it last episode, but just the way he talks is so funny. At one point, he goes, "Can't hide truth." And he like wants it to be so serious, but he just like, it's just not a sentence.
He's yeah. He's just fun. I do think like I wonder if that character existed if he'd be like because he's from hell if he'd be really like unsettling or if he'd just be like kind of fun like kind of like who is this guy,
Yeah, yeah.
Um
Like his like presence is what unsettles people because it like gets cold and he like shows up out of nowhere. But then
yeah.
he starts to talk and you're like,
It would I mean if you had never seen that dude before and like you didn't really know that
yeah.
he was around and he just popped in on you, man.
Scared. But I don't think he's like an evil bad guy. Like maybe it was just a mistake that he popped into my household.
Yeah.
Or
Who
he's about
knows?
to reveal some like crazy information to me. Just
Yeah.
don't get on his bad side. That's all.
Well, it's good. Usually he has like sometimes he has a little notepad, right?
Yeah.
So he shows up with that. It's a little bit like, oh, okay, like you have to ask me something or
Oh, is this my therapy session?
he would probably be like a physiotherapist. He couldn't give very like probably articulate like breakdowns.
Yeah.
But he would maybe just tell it to you straight and you'd be like it'd be like simple enough where you kind of think on it, like what the hidden meaning behind that is.
Yeah. You'd be like, wait, you're actually saying something there. He's like, I don't
Dark
say
blood.
anything. But at one point he says like that evil like sees evil. I
Yeah.
think that's a big tell to what he knows.
Why is he in hell is the question.
Yeah, I don't know, what did he do?
I hope we'll find out because he's cool. Um,
Yeah, because then we say
who
bye to him.
who wins? Darkblood or Cahor?
In my mind, Cahor has like some power. I don't know if Damien does what makes him
Mm.
scary?
I know, does he like shoot fire or something?
Yeah, that's the thing is like I don't know what he does. Like he's a good detective. Is that what makes him so scary? Is that he knows like when you're lying?
He does seem to have some like just sense, um, some sixth sense.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know. We've never. I mean, who knows if he can? So Nolan, I mean, talks to him, and he's basically telling him, "Don't." I think he says like, "Don't like threaten like my family or with your conspiracy stuff."
Hmm.
And David Darkwood's like, "Or what? You'll kill me?" And he's like, "No, I wouldn't have to." But it does make me wonder, like, what would that showdown look like? Would he just? I mean, Damien Darkwood can't really die, right?
I don't know. I guess not.
We might
We
have
need to
to.
know more about this character.
We might have to read some fan fiction to just satisfy our questions.
I think so. Or write it
Um,
ourselves.
yeah, we can start writing. Um,
Yeah, we it's a quick high and bye with Damien Darkblood. He
mhm,
gets sent back to hell, which
yes.
which I don't understand what they have against Damien. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Like I feel like he could really help them in some situations. Like what do they have against him?
I know it does make you wonder, like, what the history is with his character and
Hmm.
his
Well,
dynamic.
and Cecil says that like he's sending him back because he didn't drop the case.
Yeah,
Like he figured it out for you, Cecil.
I know. And even like once we see the entire season like play out and like all the Anu stuff kind of come to light, like, why isn't Cecil brought him back? Like, what's up with that? Um,
I don't know.
we should mention that Cecil, his team used AI to help reconstruct the Demonius Ex Mortem, which he uses to banish Darkwa back to hell.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny because like in 2021, I don't think the AI stuff was nearly as much of a conversation as it is now.
Yeah.
Um, but like even back then, like it was like, of course, like AI will just be able to that doesn't even seem. I feel like AI could do something like that now,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, it's interesting because I feel like the AI conversation wasn't as big back then.
Mhm.
So I think when I first heard that, I was like, oh, like they just used some advanced technology. But just now knowing what we know about AI, you're just like, oh, scary. Like that. That is scary.
Yeah. I actually pictured a little robot guy when CISO was like, we used AI, I pictured a little robot dude like piecing it together. Um, but I wonder like if humans found like some like creepy ass book that was all like in Latin or something, if we could use AI to like figure out what it means and then it actually is opens some like portal to hell. That can be a movie.
Now I'm yawning.
Oh, did you just yawn?
No.
Oh, um,
Oh, one
you'll
thing
find
that
it.
really does get me though in this episode is when Donald starts reading the scripture. Like, like why did they have him do it? And he's
It is
like
funny.
reading it so well. And
Yeah.
Donald's just like this funny character that we don't really know too much about at this point. So he's
Yeah,
just
that's
reading
true.
like crazy thing.
It's almost like such a random scene for a
Yeah.
show that doesn't do really much with obviously Dark Blood, but anything
Mhm.
at all with like the more like afterlife, like religious, like corner of that world. Like
Yeah.
we see him banish like a demon back to hell, and he's like there's like chains and
Yeah.
very like crazy.
I guess like Kahor would be like the next kind of like religious
Yeah,
like resurrection and that.
it's like
And
a
I'm sure
weird like.
like he has like some backstory
mm,
like tying him to a religious culture.
yeah. I don't know. It's very interesting. But that's what's up with Damien Darkblood. Um, Mark and Amber stuff, not a lot in this episode, I don't think. I mean there is, like they go out and like
Mhm.
but there is one like good scene where Eve is like, if you're gonna tell her the truth, like who you are, then that means you need to be very serious about your relationship with her. Like, are you serious? And obviously, he's not. But uh he doesn't tell her this episode, but I think he gives her like a Mars rock at the end.
Mhm.
Um it's kind of cool, but he doesn't what does he say it's from?
I think he just says it's from Earth.
Really?
I think so.
Oh.
Or
He doesn't
no,
make up like
that's that's
it's
that's what he tells her to say it's from. I don't
can't remember. But I know I'm pretty sure it's from Mars.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
But so it's like kind of cool, but to her it's like, oh, just a rock.
Mhm.
Um I love how rocks earn like this reputation of being like it's like a useless like object, like it has like this connotation where it's like getting coal for Christmas, it's like what are rocks?
Well, that's so funny that you bring this up because this you just sparked a memory deep
Okay.
deep within Bree. Um,
Yeah.
my friend Alex and I, we were probably in it's probably like the fifth grade at this point, maybe sixth.
Okay.
We made a rock family. There was this
Oh.
there was this house on her street, and like instead of a yard, they just had like a thing of rocks,
Mhm.
how some people have like mulch. And we would
Right.
like take rocks that we thought were worthy of our rock family, and we would draw faces on them and then give them names.
Wow.
And that's all I remember.
What were their names?
I don't remember.
Oh.
There has to be a photo somewhere. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
You did that in 6th grade?
Probably like 5th or 6th, I think. No. Wait. No, like yeah, like 5th grade. No,
That's cool,
I
I
don't,
suppose.
I don't remember when we met. It was when we met. It might have been 4th grade.
Mm.
Anyways, rocks.
How entertaining was that for like how long was that fun for?
I don't know, a good amount of time.
Rocks. Kids
I,
really do have great
I think we just like
imagination.
kept adding to the family. We were like, this rock looks like a good rock to add to the family.
This is Uncle Rocco.
Yeah, I literally think like one of them was named that. You could have played with us too. Look at you. Look at your names like you
Pretty
did.
funny.
But yeah, we see Marv, Mark, and Amber. They share a little kiss.
Uh, yeah. Um, yeah, Market Amber. I mean, it's going pretty well, I guess.
Yeah, I forget, and I'm excited to get there. I forget at what episode he tells Amber the truth. I think she like kind of knows before he says anything. We'll get
I
there.
think I think it's at the end of the season.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm pretty sure she knows going into season
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. There's a lot with or some with the Guardians of the Globe.
Mhm.
We see that Cecil left this bloodstain on the wall as like a reminder, like don't get cocky yet, like you gotta prove yourselves. Is that do we know whose blood that is? Is it Darkwing's?
I think so. That would make the most sense, I think.
I think he dies kind of near the wall, or like he
Yeah.
gets splattered onto the wall.
Yeah, like his blood like splatters.
Yeah, because the idiot tried to like jump Omni-Man. Crazy. Batman would never be caught slacking like that. Like Batman would already have figured something out.
Uh, well, now
Um,
it's a constant reminder of his mistake.
yeah, but it is kind of a also like a good reminder. Like you can't get cocky because the most powerful superhero team on the planet all got massacred in one go.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if they ever revisit that. They I think they do, but I can't remember when someone like cleans it. But cool though. It's cool. Robots very weird in this one.
So weird.
Um, what was it like for you like rewatching this stuff? Like knowing what the payoff is, but like seeing like how like just weird and creepy they set it up as.
I think the part where he steals Rex's DNA, I think the first time I watched it, I was like, that's weird. But I don't think I paid a lot of mind to it
Mhm,
until the end of the episode where I see like the weird little thing that robot has in the
mhm.
container. So I think when it first happened, I was like, okay, that was weird, but like maybe he's just doing that like for for his protection, maybe. Um,
Right.
but rewatching it, I was like, oh my God. Like he had no like thought behind it. He was like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. Yeah, he's I can just imagine his like cold, like metallic hand like on your shoulder. Like a little too much pressure probably.
Yeah.
Uh scary. It's very scary.
Mhm.
Um and then he's all like ominous as like this like, little creature guy in this tube and he's like finally
I
phase 1 begins.
Yeah, I forgot about him because I'm so familiar with who.
Rudy is.
Yeah. That like I forgot that he was like a little, I don't really remember. I'm excited to watch the rest of the episodes because I forget like how that progressed.
Yeah, I mean, you see a little bit with the Maulers in this episode, and I know Robot goes to them for their like expertise on cloning.
Mhm.
I think the Maulers, if I remember correctly, like in this episode we see them like starting to work on something. Is that their like immortal resurrection plan?
I think so.
Um, I don't even remember fully how they like obtain like his body or like his head or like how that happens.
Me either. Well, I think
Find
we're
out.
rewatching this season.
Yeah, I actually don't know, but I'm curious. Um, yeah, so we got creepy robot, Mark and Amber stuff, Damien Darkblood. Um, suppose we should talk about all the family stuff. 'Cause
Hmm.
there's a lot of great like dialogue in there. And I think honestly the show's strongest relationships are between like Mark and his two parents and Nolan and Debbie, but we don't get to see that at all in season two.
Yeah, I completely
But
agree.
they're like at the top of Mount Everest, and Nolan's like, your mom changed everything. She took this place from a job to a home, then you came along and changed it all again. And like I think now that what we've seen in season two, like I think he is being genuine.
Me too.
Um,
Which it makes it so much worse, in my opinion.
yeah. It really just sucks knowing that it's just all gonna fall apart pretty soon.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah, it's interesting to like hear Omni-Man say, or Nolan say that like your mom changed everything because she did. Like he wasn't supposed to fall in love and do all of that, you know?
yeah,
It's sad for sure. But speaking of Nolan and Debbie's relationship, they get in a little like tiff at one point, and he she talks about how she's never even met his people, which I think
yeah.
which is a very like telling thing. And
Mm,
we eventually find out why. But I think when like she
right.
says that, like we just think they're having an argument, like his people are just people in space. Like of course
Yeah.
she's never met them, but then we soon find out why.
Yeah, like why
She's never met
she's
the
never met
Viltrumics.
them, right?
Yeah.
He's like Omni-Man's like, he's like, I'm not embarrassed of you, I'm embarrassed of them. Uh
Yeah.
yeah, they have an argument, and then Nolan is very good about kind of like saving himself. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
after what happened to the Guardians, I'm worried what could happen to Mark um on his superhero adventures. Um Even though in a few episodes I will just beat the absolute shit out of him. Um,
No. Yeah, he does a really great job of like ending the argument too with Debbie and being
mm,
like, you should just go on vacation.
yeah. And that's a great scene too when they're in where are they?
I think they're at an Italian restaurant, right?
I think it's supposed to be Italian or something, or somewhere
Yeah,
in
they're
Europe.
like somewhere in Italy.
Yeah, I think so. And I like there's a small detail like where she's like, wow, it's been so long since we've been here. He's like, oh, it's only been a few years. She's like, it's
Mhm.
been 20 years. And I guess to him, like, I mean, I think that's like a fun line in general because time probably goes by quick for everyone, but especially for him, like, for him, 20 years isn't that long. So it
Mhm.
probably does feel maybe more of along the equivalent of what we think. couple years is.
Yeah.
But in this scene, I love how they're randomly there's like just a dragon that shows up.
Yeah.
Like it's so like just so random.
I love that they have like a balance of like villains and just like monsters.
Yeah,
Like
I
not
know.
only do they have to keep their eye out for the villains, but there's also these monsters that like randomly spawn.
Like just kaijus, like
Yeah.
Godzilla and King Kong. They might
Yeah,
just show up next season,
that would
and
be awesome.
it will be awesome. Um, but I really like the part where Nolan's like, it's very important that like I hear you say that you trust me.
Yeah.
Because I think he does internally probably hope that what with the Viltrumite stuff, she'll just be like okay with it, and he won't have to convince her, or like maybe he doesn't have to like fully like leave her. So I don't know. It's kind of just a sad like line or moment.
Yeah, and just like the way he is letting this kaiju like destroy the city and he's like begging her. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like him. He's so evil. He's like, "Do you trust me?" And I'm like, "No, Debbie, don't trust him. Don't do it." Uh,
No. But it's her husband of 20 years.
I know. She's so
Crazy.
unsuspecting.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I
It would
think
be way more crazy if, or you go ahead, you go ahead.
you go.
I was just gonna say it'd be more crazy if like she just wasn't aware at all of that he was like some super being, and then she just found out all this. But I mean, like she's known that he's like this mysterious kind of alien from
Hmm.
just a planet that he doesn't talk about really. But obviously, I mean, it's still pretty like a shitty situation for her as this unfolds. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say we should talk about this Mars mission.
Yes, we should. Really fighting it on right now. I'm really enjoying this, but it's like a natural, it's a instinctual thing. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think like this Mars mission, we don't see, really come back till
Hmm.
like the most recent batch of episodes. So what was it like for you just rewatching the start of this?
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I think the Martians are just fun, interesting characters. I know, I mean, we learn a bit more about them in season 2, but just like the way they talk to Mark is funny, and they're
Mm,
just like immediately suspicious. And I think it's a fun like couple of scenes to watch, and it's also like Mark's first like solo mission. So it was interesting to see like how he handled doing that on his own, which he didn't
yeah,
handle very well at first.
no. I like how when he's talking to the Martian Emperor, he does the same kind of thing that he does when he talks to the like Atlantis Queen in the next season,
Oh yeah.
where he's kind of not sure like how to properly address them. It's just a fun, like I hope they play on that like more, because he's like this super, super powerful like character, but he's respectful like person.
Mhm.
So it's just funny watching him trying to like, and he like bows, like it's just that's just funny.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because at one point he mentions that like he's a Viltrumite, and the Martian Emperor kind of has a negative reaction to it. So
Right.
that's interesting.
I was what? Yeah. Do you think like the Martians are that aware of the Viltrumites, like what they actually are, or is it?
I don't think they know. what they actually are, because I feel like he would have had an even stronger negative reaction. Like he would have probably tried to kill Mark.
Right.
I mean, like in a more darker sense. I think he just like is aware of like their power and kind of who they are, but not like necessarily like what their motive is.
Right. Yeah, I guess the Viltrumites seem to be decently good at like kind of masking their true intentions, maybe. But because the Martian guy isn't that like alarmed by Mark, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
He's like more so annoyed.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was also maybe a little surprised about just how quickly this part wraps up. It's not a super long like um section for something that I feel like is such a thing in season two. It gets set up pretty quickly, and I almost kind of forgot that he doesn't go up there with any other like heroes. It's just him and the
Mhm.
astronauts. And they leave, and we see the seeds being planted for Shapesmith.
Yes,
Hmm.
yeah. I love Shapesmith.
I'm boring myself. Um, yeah, which is a nice. I love how they do the little detail of like he fixes like the flag placement, like where the blue what
Yes, yeah.
corner it's in.
Mhm.
Um, just a nice little detail.
Well,
But
and
that's set up pretty quickly. Yeah.
yeah, I
Go ahead.
like how when the Martians are explaining what could happen with the Sequids, they like show it like a little like a close up of him, and you're like, oh, like that's scary. And you're like,
Right.
"Oh, that doesn't happen," and you don't think it will because they escape. But then we see that one of them got taken over,
Yeah. And
which that part of the scene is so funny because you see this like guy who's been taken over by the Sequids and these like thousands of Sequids like coming above him, and then you see the
yeah.
Martians over here, and they're the animators just like didn't really animate them doing anything. They were just like staring
Yeah.
at the
Right.
Sequids. But you're like, no.
They're in that just state of shock.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah. I guess you wouldn't have a whole lot of time to react.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward, contained like plot point.
Mhm.
Um, it is cool to see the start of an ongoing plot line.
Yeah. Yeah. And to see like how they started it. But yeah. Well, when we come back, we're going to be playing a new game that we like to call Guess That Super Suit.
Hi, I'm Alex. Enjoying this show on the Aspect Network? Then you should check out my show, Philosophy of X. Each week, I pair an X-Men character, story, or concept with a relevant philosophical topic and explore how the two relate to one another. Join me on my journey to examine the world of X-Men through philosophy. And now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Viltrumics. To wrap up this episode, we're introducing a new segment called Guess That Super Suit. In this game, I'm going to see if Negan really knows his stuff by guessing characters from the show just based on a zoomed in image of their suit or of their body. Negan, are you ready? Do you feel confident?
I think so, but like I don't know how zoomed in we're talking about.
Okay, well, I'm really excited. So I will send you the first image, and
Okay.
for our audience, it'll be displayed here if you guys want to play along. All right, it should be sending.
Okay. I mean,
And this is from any episode, any season.
right. I mean, I think I recognize like the character, like in terms of the context that the scene, like what the scene is, like where they are. I don't know if I can tell you the character's name.
Okay, that's okay.
Um, I think it's like whoever Shrinking Ray fights in the, and I only know that because I like just rewatched that one. Um, he looks like a monkey, but I don't know. Do we know his name?
His name is Man Kong.
Mancon. That's pretty funny. Like you're telling me Mancon wouldn't be like a good addition to. He's a giant gorilla.
Versus like Shrinking Ray.
Yeah. Well, Shrinking Ray
Yeah, she
can
proves
do cool
herself.
stuff. Duplicate. I don't know.
Wow, I'm impressed. You kind of killed that.
Yeah. I mean, I would have. There's no way I would have gotten his name. I would have been like, "Wow, I'm a big nerd." If I knew Mancon.
No, I would have been like, wow, you're on a whole other level. Okay, are you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, this one is kind of easy too.
Oh, is it just Martian Man?
Yes,
Okay. Okay. Um.
really easy.
Well, this one's so like pixelated.
I could not. I just, hey, this was thrown together. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I have confidence that this one will be a little bit of a challenge.
Okay.
I
I'm
hope.
ready. All right. So we're looking at, since I guess if you're listening like on Spotify, you can't see it. Um, more incentive to watch the YouTube. Check out our social medias. But I'm looking at like it's like a square of like this I don't know what type of color you'd call that. It's like a purplish pink. And there's like a black. It's clearly very clearly zoomed in. Oh. It's not like a sequin, is it?
Mm-mm.
Hmm. Can you tell me if it's like a good character or a bad character? Like a bad guy, good guy?
Yeah, I would say he's a good character. Guess again, and then I'll send you a more zoomed out version.
Is it Alan?
No.
Oh, really?
You're on the right path though. Let me send you this next photo.
Okay, okay.
Oh, it's gonna help.
Oh, it's one of the like the oh man, is it Thraxons or Flaxons? Is it Andressa?
No, but you're on the right track. You're like so close. And
Is
you
it
can tell you what it
is it the one that talks to Mark?
that like kidnaps him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Newell's.
Right, yeah. Wow.
You got there eventually.
Yeah, once I could see kind of the rounded like shape, I was like, oh, okay. That's a
Okay,
good one. That one
thanks.
really stumped me.
Let's do this one. I don't know if this one will be easy or hard. Let's see.
Is it just Donald?
Get that!
Looks like he's just holding a mug and I can see like his blue tie.
That's crazy. I don't think I would have been able to guess that.
Really?
He's just holding them. It's a hand and a mug.
Yeah, and it's the blue tie. I think that gave it away.
That's
He
really
just
funny.
always wears the same thing, but still
Okay.
good.
Here's the last one. Don't know if this is
Okay.
gonna be easier or hard at this point.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were setting them progressively harder or easier.
No.
So for our audio only listeners, I'm looking at there's an eye. It's kind of a reddish like face or something. But it's a little like not a super high resolution photo. And it's kind of cropped in. So this one actually, I do have to think about this one.
Good.
Um, I mean, he looks like a bad guy. Like he just looks like someone that you'd fight. But can't think of. I'm trying to picture like red characters other than Damien Darkblood, who I'm positive that's not him. Um, it's got to be like an obscure or like it doesn't seem like a major character. Unless I'm looking at it from the wrong angle. But no, I think that's how the eye should sit. So wow, I don't know. This one I'm stumped on.
Okay, I'll send you a little zoom out.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll help.
That just like confirmed if he was frowning or like smiling. Wait, who is this?
Okay, I'm gonna send you.
Okay. Definitely like red faced dude, or he looks like he has a red face. Wait, huh? I'm so now he's like, oh, oh wait, is it Cecil? Oh wow.
But it's
It's
it's it's specifically Cecil when he's banishing Damien Darkblood because they cut
I see.
and he looks crazy.
Yeah. Wow, that's
I was
good.
like, that's the one I'm doing.
That's why it looks so red.
Yes, because I was thinking about doing Damien Darkblood, but I was like, that's way too easy.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Thanks. And that was the last one.
I first thought you were just starting to like troll me or like just find a different cartoon. I was like, I have no idea who this is. But of course that makes sense. Like, I don't know why I didn't. I think just the red was throwing me off. But
Oh,
yeah, he
yeah.
does have his weird, like, kind of mouth, like his face has a thing. Like,
Mhm.
um,
Well, you
cool.
kind of killed that. You got like 3 out of 5 on the first guess,
Yeah, 60%.
then 4 out of 5 after multiple guesses. Well, 5 out of 5 after multiple guesses. Good
I like
job.
that we started with like the most obscure out of all of those guys.
You got it really fast though. I only zoomed in on like his bicep,
Hmm.
but I was like, that's too hard.
Yeah, that's fun to play that again.
I agree. It was fun. I
That
feel like
was
there's just
challenging.
so many characters you can do. It was hard for me to find like photos of like
Yeah,
for the
certain
for the
characters.
Cecil one, I had to like look up the scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's funny. There's so many just so many characters. Um, wow, that Cecil one's crazy.
He looks so scary.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's just like cut from a different cartoon. But that was good. That was fun.
Our first game of the pod.
Yes, I hope the Spotify listeners really just envisioned I really don't think you really picture what we're talking about.
Hey, it's okay. You did a good job describing it.
But yeah, well, thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of Viltrumics and Invincible Podcast here on the Aspect Network. Next week, we will continue our rewatch of the series with our review of Season 1, Episode 5, titled That Actually Hurt. But first, Bree, where can people find you on the web?
They can find me on Instagram at BreAnna_Romero, on TikTok at Big Head Bree with 3 E's, and on Letterboxd at BreAnna Romero. And that's it. Where can they find you, Negan?
You can reach me, or no, don't reach me. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Negan the Stallion _. You can find me on Letterboxd at Negan2000. So yeah, don't message me, but I'm just kidding. You can follow me.
Full of DMs, guys.
I've been getting like TikTok, like since I've been like building some followers, not that many, but on TikTok, like every now and then it'll be like, so and so sent you like the way sticker. And I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, cool. Like, I don't know if I don't feel like engaging, but I'm flattered. Anyway, you should please be sure to subscribe here to The Aspect on YouTube and any platform where podcasts are found. Follow us on Twitter /X, Instagram, and TikTok at The Aspect Co. Thanks so much for listening, and
Think, Mark, think!